Folks, welcome back to The Pulse. My name is Matt, and this is Crypto Heartbeat. It's 3:45 on a Saturday afternoon. Dropped my son off at a birthday party. We are in business for a stream because I'm so excited. We are so close to the Pulse Chain launch. And you know what I was thinking? I was thinking about this channel and why did I call it Crypto Heartbeat? And I thought about Richard Heart, and I'm like, what's the beat of Richard's heart? What is Richard Heart's beat? That's why I did a little of the dance music there. You like that? You like what I did there? Yeah, you saw that. Folks, we're going to talk about Richard Heart and the beat. We're going to hear from Richard himself, not live, of course, but it's something that you probably haven't seen in quite a while. And we're going to understand what makes the fella tick. What's at the heart? Why is he Richard Heart? And what does this all mean for us as we look forward to the Pulse Chain launch? This is going to change everything. All our lives will change. But I believe it's part of a bigger story. And that's the story I constantly want to tell you because I want you to realize this is going to be an entire shift in the absolute financial system. It's all changing, folks. And we are a part of changing it. Do you realize that? It's crazy. You see yourself as somebody who's changing the very nature of the financial system. You know what? By supporting decentralized finance and this vertically aligned ecosystem of the Pulse Chain and PulseX and Hex and all the things that will be built on the Pulse Chain, plus wallets and, all kinds of things like privacy tokens. We're going to hear about freedom and sovereignty. We're going to hear about what makes Richard's heart beat. How about that? Let's get into the chat and then we'll get into the content. It is good to see you. Feeling good on a Saturday. It's beautiful here. Cool, sunny, a little windy. Fantastic from Central Texas. Folks, welcome back to Crypto Heartbeat. Facing reality first on the docket on Saturday with the elbow cough. Thanks so much for the dab. Godfather J6 is back. Vinny 3 is here. Facing reality. What is going on in Hex Force 1? Hey, hello, Matt. Happy Saturday. Making a final buy at Texan before Pulse Chain. We're going to have ourselves a fork of the Pulse Chain. That means everything that is on Ethereum gets copied over. So if you're holding anything, got a copy, folks. Copy on the Pulse Chain. We are so close. You saw that the Shanghai upgrade worked. You saw the validators are getting their bonuses, right? They're getting paid. And I follow Bretap. If you guys get a chance, you might want to check him out. He is one of the senior devs over there at the Pulse Chain. And it's like, I don't know what else there is to do, right? A couple little things, probably clean up things. And it's to the boss, Richard Heart himself. And I have a feeling the boss will be like, what else you got? And they're like, hey, this is where we are. And he's like, we're a go flight. We're a go flight. Francis Powell, hello all. Magnus is here. Hey, all you good folks out there. It is so great to see you. My online goes, what's good, everybody? And Ari from Manila, the Thriller from Manila. Hello, everyone. Great to see you. And David Lee, traveling all the way from southwestern Indiana to come to my dad's funeral. It's my dad's birthday today, folks. He would have been 74 today. And it's a good day. It's a good day. So, David Lee, thanks for all that you do, sharing the love with folks. That's what makes this community, this thing so special. It's the community of people caring for one another. If there's a bonus, man. You're just like, I was just coming here to get rich, not get friends. And now I got friends and I'm rich. Woohoo! Not the way to go. Crypto Compassion, ready to go, fam. Hey, hello, there's Kadium. Kadium, great to see you. Glad to see that you're safe. Thanks for checking in with us today on the Pulse. We're going to be talking about Richard Heart's beat. Richard's heartbeat. What is up? That fits right in with the old theme of this channel, folks. CryptoPay, good morning, people. Let's go, Pulse Chain. Nico, QLD. Good day from Brisbane, Australia. Thanks for being here. T Gray, hit the likes. Please hit the likes and subscribe. We're close to 10,000. 10,000. I would have never imagined that so many people would listen to me yak about Pulse Chain and PulseX and Richard Hart and Hex and Texan and Ophir and all this stuff. And Hexy Quinn. She is back again. Hexy Quinn, thanks for being here. Things are about to get good. Folks, can you feel it? I can. You can taste it when you go to church and pay your taxes, Mr. Anderson. NT Fryer, what's going on? Happy Saturday, everyone. Evo's in the house. AT, what's up? Magnus 2247, that's right. Tigray, Senior Matt, CryptoPay, smash the likes. Everybody's happy. JB's here. And Chuck Norris. Do you realize how long? Okay, this is an omen or a sign, as they say, right? An apparition. This is what you need to know something, folks. When Chuck Norris shows up, the Pulse Chain launches. That's what I'm saying, right? Chuck Norris has that kind of control to be able to launch the Pulse Chain. So, Chuck, we salute you. We thank you for being here. You are coming out of the hibernation of the bear market, and I hope you're doing well. Hope you're stateside for this exciting launch, but good to see you nonetheless. Hello, sir, to you. Tigray, we're dancing on the inside. Oh, what a feeling. That's right. Dancing on the inside. It's so exciting, right? I'm just excited to tell all the people I've been telling for 2 years that the Pulse Chain's about to go live. Well, I've been saying that for about 2 years, but hey, got to be optimistic in this business, if you know what I'm saying. Absolutely. Casey Hex, hello all. Happy Saturday. Freedom. That's right. DJ Dougie Peach, we don't have a stream without the Mr. Peach here. What's going on? Guts, good to see you. Nice to see you all. Mark T, hey man, thank you so much for the help. I didn't even know I had those Texan tokens. Whoa, how about them apples? That's a good thing to run into. You check a wallet and you're like, I didn't even add these custom tokens. Papow. You know, you can look on Etherscan at your wallet address and kind of see what's out there. That's right. What's left to test? I don't even know. James Hodge, what's going on from New Jersey? Thanks for being here. Michael's here. Howdy, howdy. Let's see. Liberty or death. Happy Saturday. I can feel the excitement in the community. Pulse is near. Yeah, everybody's blood pressure's increased, right? The heartbeat. We are just, the tempo has increased, if you know what I'm saying. We're going to hear from Richard Hart here in just a minute here. And this is, not a lot of people have seen this content from PulseCon. I actually never went through it, and I went through it again. I'm like, this is genius stuff. These are questions that I got to ask him at the PulseCon, and he just is fresh. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to hear what's really behind the heart of Richard Hart. What's he all about? Is this just some get rich quick scheme? You haven't been listening if that's what you think it is. The tweets from Braytap and Richard tell me we're weeks away, days away, hours away. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm excited about it. And thank you for being here. Everybody needs some content, a pick me up, an encouragement, a shot in the arm, if you will. David Lee with the love. Robert, good to see you. Hello, Ari. Happy birthday to your dad, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate that a lot. That means a lot to me. Facing reality. What's going on? Pulse M. Am I going to be able to farm stake Texan on 9-inch? Dude, the PP tokens got a DEX called 9-inch. Boy, I'll tell you what, man, not my branding style, if you know what I'm saying here on Crypto Heartbeat. Facing reality, hanging with the kids. That's right. Awesome. 10,000 subs on your way to 100,000. Tigray, I appreciate that encouragement. David Lee says, please like and subscribe. That'd be great. Hey, all of those things that we do together, if you like, you subscribe, those type of things, they just help this type of content. I'm up to, I think, 500 videos over the last 18 months. And this has been about Pulse and PulseX and Texan and Ophir and all of these things that are going to be on the Pulse chain. And so when you support folks that are streaming, you're supporting a rising tide. And what I've heard is a rising tide lifts all boats. You're already rich when David Lee is your friend. Oh, man, that's so nice. That's an encouragement to David Lee. Jockey Clocky, what's going on? Chopping Brock, I love it. Chopping broccoli. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought of chopping broccoli in a long time. What was that? Was that a sketch from Saturday Night Live? I want to say Adam Sandler did that, but I may be wrong. You'll have to correct me. The Chop and Brock. Good to see you. Crypto Cryptid. What's up, homies? Good to see you. Anthony Munoz. There's the billionaire in training. How's consensus going? I'm not there anymore. It was a great. I spent 2 days there and met some great people. It was awesome to hang out with the Pulsicans and representing the Pulse chain. Last time we saw Chuck Norris, he head kicked the number to the moon. That's right. I'm telling you, we are close. Stay safe, stay ready. Thanks, Chuck Norris. That is awesome. Time waits for no man unless that man is Chuck Norris. He is the one that stops time. Please don't stop time. Advance it for us so we can get the Pulse chain launch. Hex Glenn's here. God's Child. Hello, Matt. I'm excited to be here again. Let's go. Hex Noob is here. Hello, all. Tin Top, Roof Dog, Liberty or Death. In the beginning, there was nothing. Then Chuck Norris roundhouse kicked nothing and told it to get a job. Oh my gosh. I love the Chuck Norris jokes. They're some of my favorite. Dana Carvey. That's right. Chop and broccoli. Oh my gosh. That is so great. Yeah. Dana Carvey. Thank you so much. Chop and Broccoli was David Carvey and Phil Hartman, I believe. Oh my gosh. Now there's psychic abilities involved. What I missed. Tin Top, thanks for being here. 73 people. Thanks for joining today. And let's hear from the man, the myth, the legend, the leader, the visionary, the innovator, Richard Heart. So here we go. This is from PulseCon, folks. Check these out. Richard, thank you very much for, I feel like unlocking abundance for us as a community. I mean, I see it as, absolutely revolutionary. I appreciate all that you do. One of the boldest things I've ever heard you say was that you wanted to start your own country. Will you share, as we finish up, about that and what that looks like to you? And I mean, I look at crypto and then I look at countries and I see that. What does that mean to you?
So I want people to have more freedom. And it seems like everything sucks everywhere. Everything's getting worse everywhere, except for maybe electric cars, maybe rockets that land themselves, and crypto. But everything else sucks. It is getting worse. I don't know. Maybe CPUs are doing okay, and GPUs. So if you want to make the world better, who's going to do it? Well, if you got the resources and the abilities, you should do it yourself. As long as you're not killing something else you would have been better at, right? Like it's highest and best use. It's not just highest use. It's highest and best. So there's a possibility. So my idea on country is that you don't want to be an island, because then if you're an island, you've got a lot of extra overhead and lag and latency for materials acquisition. So let's buy a refrigerator. Well, it's going to have to go on the boat. How long does it take for the boat to get here? Let's have a sandwich. Well, whereas we could have ordered just across the border from the sandwich place, now it's got to go on the boat or the plane. So islands have a lot of friction. So a lot of islands like the Bahamas operate on island time. Nothing's getting done in time. Everybody's lazy. Richard, I can't believe you just said everyone in the Bahamas is lazy. Hey man, go ask them about it. All right. Ask them what island time means. They'll tell you. It's so, if you can get a special economic zone carved out of someplace near a good country, touching a good country, well, that'd be great. So now we can get tax incentives and commerce incentives and get your foothold in there. And if you get your tax and your commerce incentives, now you've got sustainability. Now it's like you're not burning money there, you're making money there. And then you can start to influence that local culture, local law enforcement, et cetera, with your own kind of theme of freedom. And so I haven't had the time to really go through the ones that have been most successful. But I know that setting up special economic zones is a thing. They do exist. I've been to them. I bought stuff from them. And I think it's the most low overhead, highest likely to profit mechanism by which you might be able to carve out some freedom. Now, the hard part there would be, how much will you be allowed to isolate from the local control structure? And you might be able to isolate a lot if they're getting paid. If they're not getting paid, I'm not sure how much freedom they'll let you buy. So it's a 6 or 7 year out thing. I've got to do medical research funding. Got a couple blockchain things in the pipeline here. Got to get those going.
Yeah.
And hey, I've got these free books why don't I just publish them? I can afford to publish them. Why not do that? And I would probably get more press and more interviews from doing that than I've done from the crypto stuff, which is hilarious to me. So
Well,
got a few
I
things in
hope
the
at some
pipeline before
point
nation
convince-
state.
Yeah, well, nation state is definitely a bold statement. Well, I hope that, one of the things that we're working on, and we would love to welcome you into the Republic of Texas when it becomes independent again and have a
There you go.
carved out area that's called Hex. That would be the
Well, there's not, the
wonderful
other
thing.
option is you
I
could just focus enough energy. Like, but New Hampshire tried this, right? Like, New Hampshire really tried to be the libertarian go-to zone, and I'm not sure whether they won. Like, I'm not sure if their dreams came true or not. But if you want to see something really interesting, there's a Netflix documentary about a religious dude that tried to carve out a spot in the Northwest United States somewhere, and it went all kinds of wrong. They tried to influence the voting by bringing a bunch of homeless people to vote. And then they didn't realize that the reason homeless people are homeless isn't because of a lack of opportunity. Usually it's because of mental illness. It makes them hard to utilize the opportunity when they find it in a durable way. And so then they had a bunch of crazy people running around, and then they just basically tried to mass drug them by spiking the water with mood stabilizers and other things that are prescription level stuff. Oh man. And then I think there was a murder plot as well. It's very interesting. I wish I could remember the name of the show off the top of my head, but it was wild. And so that was an example of a guy that, gave the whole be a standalone community thing like a go, and it went terribly. And I think the main reason it went terribly is that their neighbors sucked. Their neighbors just hated them. Now they might have been, I think that's the main reason it sucked. And then they had to fight the neighbors and try and outvote them by importing a bunch of people that they didn't realize how bad they could be. I'm sure there's some other internal bad structure stuff, but and also, I mean, in that same vein, apparently Balaji or Naval or one of those dudes, I think it was Balaji, who's kind of a Bitcoin maxi, I believe, pleb. He says he's interested in longevity. Well, that's funny, Balaji, because I raised $27 million for longevity research, and I didn't see you tweet about it, scumbag. Why not? Why don't you tweet about it, you douche? Really irritates me when people say they're for longevity, and then I raise more than anyone else for it in history, and then it's like a secret. It's like Coinbase bro is talking about longevity. Hodgkinskin, the ADA bro, is talking about longevity. And you're just like, hey guys, didn't hear a peep out of any of your mouths when we were straight up handing out free coins to people that would donate to a 50c3 registered medical research charity, primarily focused on longevity. So I have a grudge. I hold a chip on my shoulder to all those people, because had they said something, that could have been a $100 million raise instead of a $30 million raise. And so I'm very upset at those group of people that say they're for longevity. But if you were, why wouldn't you guys take the free coins and donate to the charity?
Right.
Wild to me.
Well, Richard, thank you so much for joining and sharing with us all of this great alpha on Pulse Chain and PulseX. And thank you for all that you do. Our whole community, we do believe you're not only the best guy in crypto, but the best guy around. And we really appreciate all you do for us. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
at PulseCon.
Thanks, everybody. I wish you the maddest of gains.
The maddest of gains. For those of you who joined and thought that was live, that was from the PulseCon here this last summer. And so I got a chance to interview Richard Heart, but this whole stream is about Richard Heart's beat. What's that about? What's it actually about? And so I've been playing these clips over the past couple days, and it's really to emphasize what's at the core of the vision behind what you're a part of. Many people just thought money, right? Hey, you need to get into the PulseSac. You need to get into the PulseX sack. You need to, he's launching this, forking this layer one. And of course, 2 years later, here we are. We're coming up on May. May's coming here on Monday. And, I remember May 15th. I was excited, about as excited as this back on May 15th of last year. So, folks, I want you to understand, what is Richard all about? If you read between the lines, and you really don't have to, when he's in a safe spot like on PulseCon, or he's talking to Hexo, or he's talking to people that get him and understand this, he's a true innovator. And what I mean by that, I always compare him to Henry Ford. Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile. Richard Heart is not Satoshi. But what we have here is real vision and real leadership. And so you have to recognize what it is. I asked him previously in that same interview about this vertically aligned ecosystem. And what is vertical alignment? If you got an Apple device, you've got vertical alignment. Now, some people don't like that, like this stack, right? All the way from the communication and phone device, all the way through payments and music, all the app store, all of those things, but it just works together well. See, crypto doesn't have this kind of vertical alignment in DeFi. Let me say that again. Crypto does not have vertical alignment in DeFi, true DeFi. And that's what Richard Hart's doing. This is a big deal. And that's why I liken it to Henry Ford. Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile. The internal combustion engine was created by Carl Benz. But he took this thing, this automobile, and said, you know what? We need to bring this to the people. Richard Hart's genius is not that he's some, technical wizard. He is actually someone who understands, psychology. He understands marketing. He understands people. He understands regular people because he is one. But he's just a lot smarter and he's ahead of us. He saw this stuff ahead of time. Freedom of speech, freedom of movement. It seems silly at the time. You're like, oh, what's that all about? And then what do we see? Censorship everywhere, the lockdowns from the pandemic, all of this stuff. And you realize this is a real political statement. You put your money where your mouth is. And here we are on the eve of the Pulse Chain launch. And I want to constantly remind you, why are we here? A lot of people just say, I don't care. I'll just get mine and go. But here's the thing, folks. Richard Hart never needed the money. He never needed the money, right? He was rich before he started this stuff. But what he recognized, think about the things he talks about. Longevity research, right? He talks about, hey, we could have more impact if we had raised more money, right? All the things he would do because he wants to unlock something. And what is that something? I call it abundance. He understands that the problem is the centralization of money. And you can fix the money by decentralizing it. And that's why, what started with Satoshi's white paper has really become a very powerful thing if you can get people to agree to care for one another. That's what community is. When you have trust, the miracle of Hex and the miracle of the Pulse Chain and this community is the care for one another. David Lee, talk about David Lee all the time. He drove 7.5 hours to be at my dad's funeral. And then Cadium traveled 11 hours to come and have breakfast with me. What does that mean? What does it mean when you go out of your way to do things and serve people? It's beyond that's what makes this Hexaco community so amazing. Is because people are like, hey, we're winning together. Let's high five. It doesn't matter who you are. But there's something special that happens in that because this is the problem. And I don't know if you realize this, but this is actually a problem in the human heart. The human heart is corrupt. It has the ability to choose good or evil. And the system that we're under is a system of extraction. And the system of extraction is one in which says, no, you don't need to consider other people's. You need to get yours. When Lambo, get yours, right? That's what it's saying to you. Don't consider other people, just take. And frankly, I feel like, the baby boomers didn't do us any favors, right? Remember they turned into yuppies in the 1980s with hostile takeovers. They slicked their hair back, right? Like Wall Street, hostile takeovers, right? And then you think about the business of war. You think about the corporate entities controlling the media and all these things. This is this massive crisis era where, when people don't get their way and when they see things losing control, they clamp down. And that's why we're in this situation, but we have a solution to this. And at least in the money, we have a solution. But I would I would submit to you that part of this whole thing is more powerful than just the money being decentralized into your hands. It's actually something that happens in the human heart when you consider others in addition to yourself. That's a powerful idea because hold on a second. When there's a crisis, let's say somebody has an accident out front of your house, you probably will run out to help them. You won't ask them who they voted for. You won't care what color their skin is. You don't care any of these things. You're like, hey, somebody's hurt and I need to help. That's what's so amazing about this is because of the money and this unusual mad gains, right? These things that are unusual. We have never seen this before. Everybody knows the story of Bitcoin going up, and Ethereum going up and Hex going up. And they're like, what if that happened to me? What if that would change everything? And that's the promise of this. It's not just the cult of personality of Richard Hart. He recognizes that, hey, if I can help people win, why not? That makes the world a better place. That's the real vision here, a vertically aligned ecosystem that starts with a layer one. Forking Ethereum, keeping the system state is the innovative part of this, right? And then Pulse X. No one's ever done this. You know why K4K Crypto is so excited? He's so excited because he knows this has never been done. It's never been done. No one's done the buyback and burn function on a DEX. And then besides that, $1.6 billion was sacked, right? There's like $600 million of stable coins. You think that's coming into the Pulse chain? You're damn right it is. It's called liquidity, folks. It's going to be in DAI likely. And what's amazing about that is it's going to be thick with liquidity. And then all these folks like you and me who sacrifice for Pulse and PulseX are going to be making pairs. This is going to be unbelievable because guess what people are driven by? A lot of it's traders, but they need liquidity. And that's what's so incredible about this model that Richard Hart has used in order to get to this point that we are literally on the eve of. It is life-changing because it literally sucks the air out of the room and everyone has to focus on the Pulse chain, whether they like it or not. Why? Because they see themselves in it. He understands that people support what they help to create. Let me say that again. People support what they help to create. They see themselves in it. Their own fingerprints are on it. Their tokens on their wallets also are over here on the Pulse chain. People, the neat thing about it is he understands the psychology. At the very core base, you're like, hey, if you got something that might be helpful, people will shill it. They care about the things that they own. And so a lot of these people that were kind of ragging on Richard Hart, they didn't have bags of Hex, but guess what? They're going to have bags of a lot of things on the Pulse chain. Folks, this is going to change things significantly. But what I'm most excited about is the fact that what Richard's heartbeat is, the rhythm to his heart, the reason he changed his name to Richard Hart is because it does require love and care and concern for other people. He's an advocate for you. He's working and doing all this thing to very little appreciation. But here's the thing. Richard Hart could easily just go to the beach and say, screw you. He doesn't need the money. He's not doing this because he needs a couple bucks. He's doing this because this is the right thing to do for the people. Because what do we have in this world? We have authoritarians. We've got globalists. We've got people clamping down. And it's removing our ability to move and to speak and transact. But imagine this vertically aligned ecosystem of Richard Hart, this ecosystem that has this layer one that tons of people can build on. We're building things on it. There's so many projects that'll be there. So much infrastructure people are building. This is our opportunity to take things to the next level. And folks, I'm going to tell you what's driving all of this stuff is care and concern for one another. Because what matters, it isn't just the tech. It's not the tech. The tech's important. But what is it all about? What is it all about? Adoption. People caring and telling others. Because here's the thing, this is the first time in human history where political power and financial power or military power and financial power have been separated. You used to win a war, kill people, take their gold and rewrite the rules. But those were governments. Now we're taking back. This idea of fiat currency is by decree. We decree it. We say this is value. Why? Because when we contribute money, right, into a sack or into and buy a token, you're actually taking a piece of yourself. Here's the point. And people you got to know this stuff, folks. Money, what is it? $20. What happens is you likely are working and you have creative ability. And whether you were educated at Harvard or not, you either dig ditches, drive trucks, or you do something like cut people open. And your time ultimately turns into a proxy, right? That proxy is your labor. All this stuff this is actually paper. I don't know if you know it. You are born into a system wherever you live, and there's fiat currency. It's a representation of you. So when you buy a token or you sack for something, you are actually putting a representation of you into a proxy representation of your labor into a common pool. Right? When people say, what's fiat in America, the US dollar backed by? Well, it's the good faith and credit. Well, it used to be backed by gold. Right? We got off that system, and now it's just flying on the wind of, well, it's kind of this idea of an agreement. When that's separated, that's the linchpin in this stuff. This is the Achilles heel. This is the opening in the armor for us to attack, which means we can agree ourselves. We can decree our own value. All it is paper. That's what Hex is. That's what all of this stuff is. It's an agreement of people in community coming together and literally decreeing their own value. This is why people want to shut down DeFi. It's because it's powerful, but it's only powerful if you believe it and tell other people about it and they believe it. You literally speak it into existence. Why? Because you have creative ability in the sweat of your brow, and it turns into money, and we pool that, and it creates a flywheel, and the next thing you know, Bob's your uncle. This is the golden goose, folks. Not everybody sells at once. It's how markets are made. More buyers and sellers. So what do? You create tokenomics that incentivize people to hold. It's called staking. And when people hold and don't sell, the price goes up. There's more buy pressure. And then you're a genius like Richard Hart, and he creates PulseX. And he says, you know what? Every single transaction, I don't care what you're trading on this DEX, a little piece of this is going to buy one thing that's called PulseX, and then it's going to burn it. Constant buy pressure. What happens when there's somebody out there who's like, you know what? I think I'm going to buy PulseX every single day. And as the volume goes up, I'm going to buy more and more and more, and I'll never sell. Why? Because it gets burned. I want to be in something like that, and I am in that, right? You are too, PulseX. These are the innovations that Richard's bringing. And of course, K4K for the last 2 years is like, guys, do you realize how big this is? It's not just, oh, we've got a DEX. Oh, we've got a layer one. There's all kinds of people around who are like, I'm forking a layer one. Yeah, not with the system state and not with $1.6 billion and not with a community like this, right? It's not just about the tech. What Richard has done is absolutely incredible. He has innovated on top of things because he understands human psychology. He understands these things. And people don't give him credit. That's where the glory is. He's like, this stuff seems obvious to me. Why are you such dum-dums? Because that's the problem that happens when you've got an incredible intellect and a drive and a care for others winning. And, you know, that's the thing, folks. Once you realize what's at stake, and let me show you what's at stake. On one side, there's evil. That's the World Economic Forum, the globalists. These are the people that want to centralize. This is Elizabeth Warren. These are the people who have aligned themselves with evil forces, and they want to centralize control and shut down anything that threatens their power. Well, guess what? Well, you know about social credit scores and digital IDs and CBDCs. That's their plan. They've made it clear. But Pandora's box has been opened. And we're going to have an alternative, but we have to defend it. We have to defend it. So I want you to see this in black and white. Literally, good and evil. One side wants to control you and track you and censor you and put you in your place because you have been bad, right? You've got an opinion that's other than ours. But on the other side of this, there's a guy who's like calling out in the wilderness, Richard Hart, saying, hey, we need to build a vertically aligned ecosystem that increases your freedom and sovereignty. It's not going to be OFAC compliant. And see, that's the problem. The people that get into crypto are like, no, we'll go along with this stuff. And somebody comes and, dazzles them and says, hey, man, come on over and do this. You need to be OFAC compliant, right? And they're like, yeah, I probably do. No, Richard Hart is going to defend freedom and sovereignty. But here's the thing. What happens when you can't buy or sell? So let me ask you this. Are you going to take the CBDCs? Are you going to take the social credit score? Are you going to take the digital ID? This is what's going to happen. There's going to be a crisis. This entire traditional financial system is going to burn. And then people are going to be really struggling and they'll have no choice but to take the money from the government. But this time, the money doesn't just go into your bank account. This money is put on a new government wallet in a CBDC. And if they don't have a crisis, they'll manufacture one. And here's the thing, I ain't taking it, but I'm pulling for Richard Hart in this vertically aligned ecosystem. This isn't, Pulse Chain isn't just, oh yeah, Pulse Chain launched. When Pulse Chain? Oh great, just another layer one. No, it's actually a vision about providing you with an alternative that's not aligned with evil forces, folks. You see it? It's humongous. It's unbelievable. And it literally supersedes all of this other BS that happens in crypto. People don't see it. And those who do, and those who see it, and those who realize what we're supporting, this is the alternative to oppression. This frees the captives. Because what happens when you have resources? And what I love about this is Richard Hart hasn't gone out and gotten the guys from Wall Street. This is truly a separate thing. It's not like, well, yeah, I got it with the BlackRock guys, and we just decided we'd throw something up here. No. And why do people push back on Richard Hart? And why is he such a lone wolf? Because he has a vision that is not compromising. He will not compromise his principles. You need someone like Richard Hart. You do not want him to go away. You want him to go the distance because he's representing you. He's actually advocating for you. And to him, it's been obvious all along. And to us that are a little bit slower and not as bright, we come up to speed and we go, wow, wow. And it's one thing for it to change your life, personally. But then you got to realize what happens when you have an abundance. There is an abundance in our ability to, without government control, take proxies for our labor and contribute it and unlock generosity in the world. I see it. I've seen it. You need to see it. When you support the Pulse Chain, you're not just supporting pumping your own bags. You're actually supporting something that could be the only alternative to you to transact that doesn't require you to be censored and tracked. This is truth, folks. This is true stuff. And that's the thing about it. It's this vision. It's this shared fiction. Richard talks about this. It's a shared fiction. Well, what is it? We've always spoken things into existence. Literally, the creator spoke the whole thing into existence. We have that power to do that. And through agreement, we say this is value. Because you know what, folks? If we were in little communities and mining towns in the 1840s, you know what would happen is we'd barter with people. We don't check with someone in Davos. No, I've got chickens. You've got, you shoe horses. Hey, you need some eggs? Need some chicken? My horses need some shoes. That's how value is real, and it's agreed upon between parties, right? That's what value is. It's perceived by parties. It's negotiated by parties, and it can happen between two people, or it can happen on the blockchain with a community of people who cares about each other. But here's the thing. We got to constantly be reminding ourselves we have to consider others in addition to ourselves, because Richard's actually leading. If you can't see it, sorry, wake up. He's actually leading with advocacy for you. All of the things he talks about, all the reasons that I played those videos and those interviews is because this is the real vision. I think a lot of times it gets clouded out with kind of personal hubris. But honestly, what it really is, it's our shot, folks. It's our shot. And you mark my words. Babylon's going to burn in an hour. Commercial Babylon, that's this, financial system. And the tables are going to get turned over, my friends. And what's going to be standing? And here's the beauty. As this thing falls apart, guess where people go? Where do good people go? You know where they go? To safe havens. And what are safe havens? Crypto. And what are we going to be sitting on? A fork of Ethereum 2.0. With a vision of a vertically aligned ecosystem that doesn't have to be OFAC compliant, that increases your freedom and sovereignty and doesn't require you to have a digital ID or a CBDC. The world is changing, my friends. And Richard Hart is being used and he's out front, but he is not a god. He's not one to be worshiped. He's just smarter than you and me. That's all it is. So what is Richard Hart's beat? What's the rhythm? Freedom and sovereignty, advocating for your, abundance, unlocking it for the rest of us. It's way bigger than you ever thought. And the cool thing about it is you can still say when Lambo. But I just encourage you to think about who are the people you care about. This is about to happen, folks. Have you told everyone possible? Have you literally rung the bell and just said, hey, folks, iceberg right ahead? Richard Hart is an advocate. He's an architect. He's a genius. But why is he a genius? Because he can execute. And I know it's been a long time, but folks, I'm telling you what, it's going to be so consequential when you realize, hey, I can do my transactions over here. I can't do them over there because I'm not taking the mark. And for those who have ears to hear, listen up. It says in the Bible that there's going to be a time when you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have their thing. And what is their thing? And I never, ever thought this would be possible. Yeah, if you don't have the digital ID, you don't have the CBDC, you don't have the government wallet, you can't transact. Look at China, folks. If your thing's not green, you don't go. Richard Hart's been talking about this before any of us were really seriously considering it. That's advocacy. That's vision. It's huge. This is absolutely consequential, and it's global. So, the naysayers would be like, yeah, it's just another layer one. Time will tell, my friends. And you got to bet on a horse, and I'm betting on a horse, and his name's Richard Hart. And I'm going to do everything I can to support and to reinforce and buttress this whole ecosystem. And I know he's going to have it thoroughly decentralized before it's launched, and no one's going to be able to touch it. I hope you see how big this is. And I'm excited, folks. Pulse Chain's about to launch. And I'm excited for regular people like you and me, people who have seen hard times having an abundance. Because you know what you're going to do with your money? You're not going to set up new gates and be a gatekeeper. You're not somebody that's going to go out and buy missiles and shoot them off over the sea. You're going to be someone that, what should I be a part of? What do I care about? What was I put here to do? Who's in my family? Who's in my community? People are going to look to you, folks, just because, what's crazy about it is when you're rich, everybody thinks you're smarter. No, you're just richer. And so the fact of the matter is people are going to look to you. That's why we did the Texan token. We wanted people to have an abundance come this next go around so that they can have the candidates that they want in. Because guess what happens is next session, if this session doesn't go through and they don't do the House bill and we don't get a hearing and they kill it in committee again, next time we'll have the money and they will be gone. And we will bring our people in, and the first order of business will be a referendum. Period. And I'm not stopping until we do. But this is the key. We have to support these things because what's going to happen in the next 24 months? Folks, everybody's like, hey, what's your Pulse Chain prediction? What's your Pulse X price prediction? Well, I just take Richard Hart at his word. CBD, what does he say? Hey, there's no reason I can't do a 10,000X. That's what he said. It's not me. He's not, he's not predicting price, but it's designed to do that. You know what a 10,000X means? Balliet Brand told me that in one of my first interviews. He said, Matt, when you put in $100 and it turns into $1 million, that's a 10,000X. And when you put in $1,000 and it turns into 10 million, that's a 10,000X. What would it look like for you? You're somebody who sacrificed, let's say you sacrificed $500 for Pulse and $500 for Pulse X. And you just sat on your hands. You didn't do anything. Everybody's like, ratio trade, come into this token, do this thing. And you're like, nah, I'm just going to sit on my hands. Do nothing. I want to wait for 2 years. 623 days it took Hex. What does that look like for you? What does it look like? Your $1,000 turned into $10 million. Think that would change the world? You're damn right it would. And that's why people were a part of this thing. Community's everything, folks. And I think the glory for Richard Hart in his future is going to be this. The community of people that he's changed their lives because they now have options. They bought their time back. Folks, this is the greatest time in human history, but it's the most consequential, and we have a responsibility. So be mature, right? That's what I'm going to encourage you to do. But get on this train, folks, and do everything you can to share it. Like and subscribe and do all the things you can to support people in the ecosystem, people putting out themselves out there to create value. Because the rising tide lifts all boats. And if we don't have a vertically aligned ecosystem, we do not have freedom to move, to speak, to transact. Luke, you are our only hope. This is exciting, folks. Are you ready for it? Thanks for joining the Pulse today. My name is Matt. This is Crypto Heartbeat. Let's get back into the chat, answer your questions. If you got any, let's ask them. But folks, let's go. Let's go. You have waited long enough. Let's go. Ooh, Jim Rat Crypto's in here. What's going on? The Jim Rat Crypto. Let's get in there. Belmont, what's causing the dip? Is it related to folks taking their positions out of the LP? Maybe. Great to see you, Jim Rat Crypto in the house. I love the new approach, my friend. And you've got the best intro in the business. Crypto in the morning. Love it. Love it. Not taking the airplane. The dip is for people selling. Don't worry about the dips. Richard bought the Bitcoin top at $30. He did all right and went down to $2. That's right. Scott O'Shaughnessy. What is going on? Oh, great words of wisdom as always, Matt. Thanks for being here. Tin Top dips and how much you make of the Madison gains if you play them correct. That's right. People talk about DCAing. It sounds like that might make some sense when it comes to volatility. Crypto Chronic, what's up? Howdy, all. Looking forward to the day when we're laughing at Hex and the pennies. Oh, they're absolutely, folks. Just look at the chart. All you have to do, pull up a chart and just look back out from Bitcoin or Ethereum and just draw your own lines. And just imagine what's the next one look like. It goes up and to the right. Just take a look. Ruskino, what's going on? But don't they made income from fiat? But don't they make income from fiat? Oh yeah, there's traders, but it's a derivative. It's all a derivative of your private property, which is your labor, right? People trade all this stuff, but where is it created from? Well, obviously fractional reserve banking, and that's why we've got inflation. But if you really think about the core of what the value is, all that exists is goods and services. It's real value, but it's a proxy of your labor. All things are human labor, period, end of sentence. There's no question. Everything's a derivative of that. I buy the dips, bro. Just curious, what's the primary cause? Yeah, I can see the cells on deck screener. Yeah. And the only one, my brother, I'm in Austin. And how much more rally? There should have been masses there. 2,500 sparse. Freedom is over here. What's up, dum-dums? Sam Kemp checking in from Hunt County, Texas Fair. Texit now. They are out there at the Hunt County Fair. Sam Kemp is keeping the dream alive and representing Texas independence. My son is going to be they do a wax museum. So this is in 5th grade. And in 5th grade, you have to be a historical figure and you have to stand really still. And they have a button on the table. And behind you, you've got like this board. And he is Davy Crockett. And we had to learn about Davy Crockett coming over from Tennessee and ultimately dying in the Alamo. And just amazing story. And we researched this and told the story. And he gets to act out, right? He's got his coonskin hat. And it just gives me chills when I hear the stories of the Alamo. But people stepping up. You know what they were fighting against? Corruption. They were fighting against all of these things. Davy Crockett was a congressman that represented farmers and regular people against the corruption of the government back then. Then he came over to support Texas independence from Mexico. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Sam Kemp is leading the way, continuing to do that. If you want to know more, you can check out the legislature and what's going on at the TNM, the Texas Nationalist Movement. It has value because they say it has value. That's right. I mean, that's what fiat is, right? By decree. At some point in time, we're going to back this with real stuff in the ground, right? Commodities. But right now, man, that's the beauty of it. Our made-up internet money is better than the government's made-up internet money. Crypto Night. Sup, fam? Good to see you. Mr. Lee. Liberty or death. Good points, Matt. You are articulating Pulse Chain Crypto, the abundance mentality, tokenomics, and good versus evil very well. Thanks, Liberty or Death. Hey, this is what it's about, folks. I've seen this stuff and you got to see it too. It's important stuff. Ark Hexagon, what's going on? I'm with you. I'm not taking the CBDC, among other things like stealing the election. COVID-19 was used to test how far they could push people. Take the jab or lose your job. Same thing coming with CBDCs. We're not going to stand for it, right? Like the Twisted Sister song, we're not going to take it anymore. Mobius, hello, hello. Tortoise Johnny, launching this week. Book it. I'm so stoked to escape the race, baby. The rat race. Love me some Richard, the Lionheart. Amen. He's not William Wallace. Oh, my goodness. Liberty or death. When God said, let there be light, Chuck Norris said, say please. Oh, my goodness. I love that one. I forgot my password. I spent all my dry powder on shiny objects. Oh no. Dude, top, that's awesome. Ease and chill with the fire. Ark Hexagon with the dab. Mr. Hellbox is back. Safe havens or commodities 100. There you go. Commodities. They are safe havens, but you know what? They're also still narratives, right? Gold, you can't eat it, right? Anders Nokia, what's up? Too late. I'll try to catch it at high speed. Thanks so much, Tin Top. On the rocket ship this time. Paul Op the 7th, good to see you. Don't be OFAC compliant. Anyone worried about the CBDCs, just keep your money out of banks using FedNow Ledger. Look into credit unions as well. There's no CBDCs. It's just the Fed Ledger when it goes live. And so Mr. Hellbox has said this a couple times in the chat. You got to look at that. You got to understand the FedNow Ledger. You know, you're making a really good point. It's a sneaky way to the CBDCs, folks. Pay attention. Do your research. Thanks, Mr. Hellbox, for reminding us all. Airto, what's going on? Ark Hexagon. Grace Rose is here. We have to be strong and stand up and say no to all the BS going on. Amen to that. We've got to come together. And here's the cool thing. Pulse Chain launch, let's say, 6 months, 300X on Pulse X. Hey, we got some opportunity to make some big change, folks. Get ready. Very true. Ari says, Tortoise Johnny, if nobody uses the CBDCs, then it fails. Well, in the Bahamas and in Nigeria, they did a test of this and only 10% of the people willingly took it. I think they're going to have a crisis, and they're going to have to, you know, the financial system is going to have to crash, and they'll probably forgive a bunch of debt, and they'll say the only way you're going to get money from us, and all these people will be starving because they're not prepared because no one has any savings, and they'll have to take the government wallet. And you will then be cut off from buying and selling because you're a domestic terrorist. Remember that? That's you. You're a domestic terrorist. We're going to shut off your bank account because you bought a sandwich for somebody who was protesting. Man, I'll tell you what. I'm with you, eyes wide open. Amen. I expect Pulse Chain to launch anytime between May 1st and May 15th. Barry Crump, I think you are right on the money. I've been looking at what Richard's been saying and Bretep's been saying. I'm like, it could be sooner than that. We could see something this weekend, my friends. But you know what? I'm optimistic. Don't listen to me. I've never been right. But one day I will be. My wife says I'm the boy who cried wolf. We'll see. Also switching over Void's current contracts. Look into that. There you go. Ivan Mandip. It's 250X will be life-changing for me. Oh, yeah. Get ready. That's just the beginning. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're almost to 10,000 subs. And obviously sharing this. Rising tide lifts all boats. Do your part. I'm already in deep. Xander Duck. Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Or sort of. Yeah, be prepared, folks. Andrew Harlan. Hey, Matt, have you been looking at the Texan token on the testnet? Not recently. Tell me more. Tigray. We have a whole community of Jedis. That's right. Use the Force, Luke, man. You know, it's actually a really good example. You think about the evil empire, you think about the resistance, you think about people in community coming together, you think about the familial sense of the Jedis. Yeah. J-Man, hello, everyone. Kev83, could you explain why they're removing liquidity or the theory behind it? Well, you know, you think about the bridges, right? Bringing value over. If people are pulling liquidity, maybe they know something that you don't know. You got to watch the money and how it moves. But, you know, people have that dry powder. You know, they want to bridge things over or have things over onto the Pulse Chain when it goes live. Maybe that's it. I don't know. It's speculation. Fiat is not a derivative of the plebeian's private property or labor. It's a derivative of the debt market. If you work the exit in the debt market, become a producer, that's the best step forward. Well, I disagree with you in the sense that everything, in my opinion, starts with actual value. And actual value you can trace back to really people's creative ability. I understand what you're saying is, but at the end of the day, a derivative in this sense, I could come over and mow your lawn, right? Right. And then in exchange, you could fix the brakes on my truck, right? We could barter that. You have a skill that I don't have. I've got a skill that you don't have, right? It's your labor and it's your time. And that's, in my opinion, all that exists. Goods and services, it relates to that. That's your private property, not in the context of the government, but that at that core, the sweat of your brow, right? It comes in many forms. If you went and got your medical degree and you cut people open and take out the gallbladder, that is also a time-based scenario. But that's the core of value. The core of value is the human spirit and experience of creative ability, speaking things into existing, creating things, either goods or services, right? We have many proxies over a long period of time that have represented that, right? And even gold, right? All of these things, everything, right? Debt instruments, derivatives like commodities are representational because they have to be utilized as a means of exchange. And by nature, a means of exchange is a derivative of your private property, of your ability to create a good and a service, right? Creating value that's perceived by others. But I understand what you're saying, but I don't think this is a place we need to split them hairs because we're on the same team. That's the problem in this community. People take out a gun and put a gun to your head in the foxhole. And you're like, we're on the same team. We're fighting people out there and you're putting a gun to my head. Believe me, we are on the same team, Mr. Tima. Hello to all. What's going on? 2 more weeks. There you go. Let's get 117 likes. That'd be nice. Call me Mr. Gaines. Ari loves it. Funk Master Hex. Cheers. Crypto Heartbeat. David Lee. Or we are the people in the matrix and we're going out of the system. Yeah. Right. Red pill, folks. Let's get out of this system and let's stay out of it. And there's plenty of people who want to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. And that's not us. Folks, Dan J, I'm answering the bell. Let's go. Folks, we all win together by considering others in addition to ourselves, right? Do you have to be a person who's the smartest one in the room? Do you have to be the one that gets all the attention? Is this about you? Well, guess what? When you consider others in addition to yourselves, you win and they win. But a lot of people are jealous and a lot of people are insecure and a lot of people don't want others to win because they're comparing themselves to others. Folks, you got to let that go. Helping other people is the greatest way. Serving people is the greatest way to unlock value, right? When other people win, you win. That's how it works. You got to wash their feet if you know what I'm saying. Folks, thanks for joining the Pulse today. My name is Matt. This is Crypto Heartbeat. It is 4:45. We're up on into an hour here, 124 people here. I know you're excited about the Pulse Chain launch, PulseX, all that kind of stuff. But do not forget what's at the core of Richard Heart's beat. How does it beat? It beats for you. He's an advocate that's concerned about you and your future. And he wants to win too, right? He's not doing this for no reason, but he's considering you in the process. And he knows that we have to have the infrastructure of a vertically aligned ecosystem so that we have an option to transact outside of this oppressive system, this extractive system. Can we build a future that is abundant, that represents the creation itself? Yes, we can. And I'm going to do everything I can. I hope you will to support the people that are towing the line to help free the damn captives. Thanks for joining Chuck Norris. We will be seeing each other in the next few months. Chuck, if you're the real Chuck, come onto the stream. Let's go. Wouldn't it be the most incredible thing, folks? If this was the real Chuck Norris, and I got Chuck Norris, and we could talk about Texas independence and all the great things that Chuck's been a part of. He's a man of faith. He's a man of conviction, and he's got a hell of a roundhouse kick, if you know what I'm saying. Tortoise Johnny with the love. I'm with you for 22 years. Crypto Chronic, thanks so much. Thanks, folks, for being here, facing reality. Tortoise Johnny, Dylan Fowler, help the neighbors and Pulse by staking. Amen to all of that stuff. Have a fantastic weekend. Adam's here. Thanks so much. 200 million texts in the 22 years. Mr. T, take care of yourself and do not mess with Texas. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.